Well, it's an afternoon for meeting new faces to Bristol Rovers. Michael Cunnah, a very warm welcome to Bristol Rovers.
Thank you.
I gather you're going to be advising the board on the stadium and working very closely with Lee, who we've already spoken to.
I will be, yes.
So just you've got a great background with Wembley Stadium, I believe. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I was the chief executive and was therefore responsible for the rebuilding of Wembley Stadium. As they say, from soup to nuts, I kind of organised all the financing and then oversaw the construction development and also the commercial development of the stadium. So in a very long 5-year period, I got into every detail possible relating to that very large stadium. So transferring that knowledge to a much smaller stadium on behalf of Bristol Rovers will be something great to do, and really to bring a lot of that experience in the very detail of how the stadium operates and what the commercial plan that attaches to it will be.
I'm going to say that experience must stand you in good stead and stand Bristol Rovers in good stead as we move forward.
Well, I hope so, and you can't do a stadium properly without getting into real detail of room sizes, corridors, all the functional elements of it, how it generates revenue, what facilities you need to do that, what construction costs that generates. So in the initial stages, there's a constant iteration between the financing plan, the business plan and the construction plan, just trying to get all those things in balance to make sure you end up with the right deal.
Did you work closely with the FA at that time?
I was the FA. The Wembley Stadium is a subsidiary of the Football Association. So I started out as the finance director of the Football Association, and in the days when Wembley was struggling and because it wasn't getting the finance from the city, being the finance director, I think everybody looked at me and said, what are you going to do about this? And it took over a year to actually secure the funding, because it was actually complicated, and it was one of those situations of, well, ideally we wouldn't have started from here, but we had, and we had to work our way out of that difficult position.
Any involvement in club football at all?
Yes, I was at Aston Villa for a short while in 2008, so I have seen the industry at the sharp end as well as the governing body, and I have to say thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought match day experiences were fantastic. That might be because actually in that time under Martin O'Neill we seemed to win quite a few matches and ended up 6th in the league. So really enjoyed it, football person, and just really looking forward to getting involved here as well.
Your links with the Arcadi family, do they go back a long way, or?
No, they're relatively new, but of course others in the project have been involved much longer and speak very highly of both the Arcadis and more particularly kind of their integrity.
And looking forward, you and Lee have got an awful lot of work to do, I guess, in a very short space of time, have you?
Yes.
Trying to get this off the ground. It's been on the back burner for a while.
But these projects are always a sort of situation where everyone says, well, ideally it should have happened yesterday. What's your timescale? Yesterday. Okay, yeah, we've got it. It's urgent. But on the other hand, it's important to get things right.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So more haste, less speed. And at the beginning of the Wembley project, we did go and visit lots of other stadiums, and we asked for their advice. And the one bit of consistent advice that always came through was keep in the planning phase as long as you can. And now, having done that very large stadium in northwest London, I understand that completely, because if you're having to do work as you go along, sometimes you find out that the work that's already been done was wrong and now needs to be redone. And of course that's wasteful, it adds on time, it costs money, so you shouldn't do that if at all possible. And of course the way the contracts are set up with the builders are normally they're fixed price contracts, and every time you change something it's a variation and the consequences are massive and the bill to that is huge. So actually it's always a challenge to try and get it right first time.
I'm just thinking as Bristol Rovers supporters have had so many false dawns, and here we are within touching distance it seems, and has been for a while. There's bound to be a little bit of impatience.
Do you know, there's nothing new about that. The original Wembley idea started off in 1995 and the stadium opened in 2007. Most stadiums have a long gestation period because Actually, they're a single-purpose building. They have certain revenues, but sometimes they're not enough. So a lot of the challenge often is to finance, and so it's nothing new. I mean, stadiums do often take a long time to get off the ground.
Just mentioned about Bristol Rovers, you're aware obviously of the great fan base that the club has, and you're here tonight hopefully to sample some of it.
Yes, and I'm hoping to see a win as well. I was at Wycombe Wanderers on Saturday, and unfortunately the result went the wrong way, so this time I'm looking for 3 points.